Okay, so imagine a huge building with 33 different windows. Every single one you look through gives you a completely unique view of the exact same landscape. Now, that's the core idea behind this really fascinating text called the 33rd word. And in this explainer, we're going to peek through a few of its most important windows to see the one single profound picture it's trying to paint.
And right off the bat, this is the big question that drives the whole thing. It's basically an attempt to build a case, piece by piece, for the existence and unity of God by looking at, well, everything. So where in the world do you even start to build an argument that massive?
Well, it starts with a really powerful metaphor. The text wants you to see the universe not as some random collection of stuff, but as this magnificent, meticulously designed palace. You know, the builder lays the foundations, arranges all the rooms, decorates them, and then, and this is the crucial part, opens up windows so we can get a glimpse of who built it. So for the rest of this journey, we're going to be looking through those windows.
So our first window looks out onto the sheer, undeniable order of this palace. The big idea here is that when you really truly look, you see these incredible patterns everywhere, on every single scale imaginable.
The task asks us to start with this number, 400,000. That's a rough estimate of the number of distinct species of plants and animals on Earth. I mean, that is a massive, diverse army of living things. But the real point isn't just the size of that number. It's the management of that number. See, the text argues that each one of these species, with its own unique food source, its own defenses, its own life cycle, is provided for with perfect order. Nothing is forgotten, nothing is confused. And what's fascinating is that this principle of order isn't just about biology. It scales from the infinitely large all the way down to the infinitesimally small. The text points out that the very same harmony that keeps planets locked in their orbits is also present in the intricate design of a flower, the complex blueprint inside one tiny seed, or even the process that delivers nutrients to every single cell in your body. And all of this leads to the first big question. When you see this much consistent, multi-layered order, from galaxies all the way down to our DNA, the text asks, what single force could possibly be orchestrating all of it? Okay, so we've seen the order in the palace. The next window zooms in on what the text calls its most luminous miracle, life itself. It's presented not just as some biological process, but as maybe the most compelling piece of evidence of all. And the way this text defines life is, well, it's really interesting. It's not just biology. It's described as a reality made up of all these different attributes, almost like a potion blended from things like wisdom, mercy, and power. So in this view, life is a mirror that reflects the qualities of its creator.
This quote here really helps unpack that whole idea. The argument is that life never shows up empty-handed. When it enters a body, it brings its whole toolkit with it. The wisdom to organize that body, the generosity to provide for it, and the mercy to sustain it.
This leads to a pretty mind-bending idea about need itself. The text suggests that the inherent need in everything is actually a form of prayer. The potential that's locked away in a seed is a prayer to grow. An animal's hunger is a prayer for food. A person's desperation is a prayer for help. And crucially, as the text points out, these prayers are consistently answered.
But okay, what about death? This is where the argument gets really counterintuitive. The text doesn't see death as the end, but as just another piece of evidence. It's framed not as annihilation, but as a change of residence. This constant cycle of things living and dying is set to point towards something permanent, an ever-living reality that's the source of all life.
So far, we've looked through windows that face outward, at the universe, at life. But now the text turns the view around, arguing that the most revealing window of all is actually a mirror, the human self. And here's the core paradox. Our limitations are presented as our greatest tools for understanding. Our own personal weakness is the measuring stick that lets us comprehend absolute power. Our bottomless need is what allows us to grasp the idea of infinite generosity. And our tiny sliver of knowledge is what points us toward an all-encompassing intelligence. This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? The idea is that a human being isn't just a creature in the universe, we are a message about the universe, specifically designed to perceive and understand its creator. By looking inward, we see the full picture.
And that brings us to the final set of windows, which the text presents as the clearest and most direct proofs of all. These are the ultimate witnesses. The first of these final arguments is all about consensus. The text points to this unbroken chain of testimony all throughout human history. From ancient prophets who relied on miracles, to saints guided by spiritual insight, to sincere scholars relying on research, the argument is that they have all independently arrived at the very same fundamental truth.
And finally, the text presents its two ultimate proofs. First, the messenger himself, the living, breathing evidence for the message. And second, the message itself, the divine revelation which is the source of all 33 windows we've been looking through.
So, after looking through all of these windows, from cosmic order to the mirror of the self, the text doesn't just end with a conclusion, it ends with a question for us. If the universe really is a palace with countless windows, all pointing back to its maker, the only question left is, what do we miss when we choose not to look?